What if there are techniques guaranteed to improve your beats? I'm talking stuff categorically proven using science and statistics. You'd probably say music is subjective, so how is that possible? Well, I've done a ton of research and found 5 methods that will scientifically improve your production. First, we're going to change how you use and think about reverb. In real life, reverb comes from sound bouncing off different surfaces, whereas most reverb plugins use super short delays to emulate that sense of space. However, that leads to a problem. The algorithm can't replicate the subtle differences each real-life environment has. Take my room, for example. There are so many things for the sound to bounce off that create a reverb truly unique to this environment. So what's the solution? Well, it's simple: convolution reverb. As you can see, unlike any other reverb, there's a waveform, also known as an impulse response. Essentially, impulse responses record how an environment reacts to a short sound like a clap. They pick up all the reflections and echoes that make that specific environment unique. Then it uses an algorithm to create reverb. Here are 2 ways you can use it to level up your beats. First, you can literally create your own reverb. For example, if you like how your bathroom sounds, record a clap in there, throw it into Fruity Convolver, and you have a room reverb unique to you. And second, you can use it to create instant texture layers. If you load in a perk loop and turn down the wet signal, you can get something like this layered underneath your main sound. Speaking about texture leads us perfectly into our next technique. This is something that every producer does, but once you truly understand it, you'll be using it even more. So you're making a melody and it sounds good in a high octave, but you need to lower the pitch to leave room for an artist. Naturally, you drop the MIDI down, but in an instant, that perfect texture that you had is gone. But why does this happen? And how do we fix it? Well, with MIDI, every time a note is played, it's re-triggering the algorithm of the VST. So when you pitch it down, it no longer triggers the high frequencies that made the texture you wanted. Instead, bounce the higher octave MIDI to audio, pitch it down like this, and all of a sudden, it's perfect. This gives the sound a filtered quality and introduces artifacts. Now, these are great tips for when you're making beats. But for our third technique, we're going to skip to the end of the process and show you how you can scientifically improve your mixes. Take a look at these 2 waveforms. Without even hearing them, tell me which one you think will sound better. I bet you said number 2. That's because louder music scientifically does sound better. The Fletcher-Munson effect shows that at lower volumes, our ears are less sensitive to low and high frequencies, creating a thinner sound. So technically, at higher volumes, we hear more of the music. But how does this help your production? Well, one way is that you should mix and create at lower volumes. So many times I've made a beat with my headphones turned all the way up and thought it was crazy, only to come back the next day and realize it's not all that. At high volumes, you're not giving yourself the most accurate representation of what the beat actually sounds like. So if you mix it quietly and you still love it, then you know you have something that sounds good. And number 2, when you export, make sure it is as loud as possible. Imagine you and another producer are playing beats for an artist. Yours are hitting here, whereas theirs are maxed out. Even if the beats are just as good as each other, the loudness alone could make the artist choose the other producer's beat. If getting your beats loud enough is something you struggle with, then you need to check out the mastering plugin. Simply open it up and it will analyze your track to find the perfect settings, making it loud enough and ready to export. You can also tweak things yourself, so you still have a lot of control. And to top things off, it's part of Lander Studio, meaning you get that as well as tons of plugins, a huge sample library, and much more. It's an amazing all-round bundle. Hit the link below if you want to check it out. Next, we're going to uncover the secret scientific formula behind the perfect 808. And I'm going to show you how you can use this information in your own beats. Now, to this day, the Zay and spins are still so popular, and for good reason. There are 3 factors that make them basically perfect 808s. One is the attack. Take a look at the EQ when the spins hits. You see a spike between the 40 to 100 Hz range. Now look at the EQ when this kick comes in. It's the exact same range, which is a big reason why the spins hit so hard. It has the same punch as a kick. Second is the high end. Let's go back to the EQ, this time using a Zay. It has a lot of high-end frequencies, which is essential for adding character and helping it cut through on worse speakers. And third, we have the low end. This is what the listener feels, and without it, everything else is pointless. Now that we have the formula, here's how to apply it the next time you use an 808. Listen to this one and tell me, what is it missing? Well, it's the low end. It has amazing high-end texture and attack, so all you need to do is layer a sub underneath it, and now it has all 3 key factors. And last, but definitely not least, I'm going to show you 2 ways to scientifically bring more emotion and feeling to your production. In my last video, I studied Frank Ocean. One of the big takeaways from that was how he fabricates nostalgia to make his listeners connect with his music more. Now, there are studies showing that nostalgia is a largely positive feeling, but how do we recreate it? First, is real world texture. Whether it's vinyl crackle or a crowd noise, these real world sounds help make your music feel like it's from the past and can easily spark nostalgia. Second is copying. Of course, you can sample, which is the most obvious way to make people feel nostalgia. However, you can also take sounds from different eras of music and use it in your own. 2000s beats are super popular right now, with artists like Tate McRae using them because the sound selection takes people back to a simpler time. Using old sounds in your own way is a great way for emulating nostalgia.